there, man. Give me a break.
Wide open. The hell are you doing?
Come on, Johnson.
Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! Let's go!
Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Oh my God! The hostile takeover of Donald Trump on Vince McMahon has happened at WrestleMania 23.
Let's go, Brandon.
You can feel it! Look at Triple H! You can see it! He's about to explode! You can taste it!
So the Section YY podcast is back after a week off. Negative Niece here in the Section YY studios. Apologies for no show last week. No show, Niece. I was on the couch for like 3 straight days. Couldn't function as a human being. It was all I could do to get up and fix myself something to eat, go to the bathroom. But I fought through it. I stayed strong. And I'm back to almost 100%. If you hear me coughing or if I sound a little funny tonight, I'm still recovering. But I lost my voice completely for almost 2 days last week. So I caught up on a lot of Netflix sitting here on the couch. But watched Bernie Madoff documentary and Woodstock 99. That was 2 interesting shows on Netflix.
Couldn't start Sopranos though.
I fell asleep. I had to rewind those shows, so there's no way I could have started Sopranos. I want to start Sopranos with a clear mind, Big Montana.
True.
So we didn't record last week, and that means Tennessee's played not 1, not 2, but 3 games since we've been on the air last. Got a big win last Saturday over highly rated Big 12 opponent Texas, Rick Barnes' former club. Went on the road, let's see, last Wednesday, help me out. Last week's been a fog. Who'd we beat last week? It was so forgettable, nobody remembers. It was Georgia at home. So Tennessee
that was at home. That was a Wednesday.
Yeah, it was last Wednesday. Tennessee dismantled Georgia 70-41. Took care of Texas on Saturday, this past Saturday in Thompson Bowling Arena, 82-71. Come back. This is Wednesday night. Come back and went down to Gainesville and took an L in the O-Dome tonight. So we'll kind of go back and recap all 3 of those games, get everybody caught up on what our thoughts are on where Tennessee's at right now and what they got coming up over the next week or so here in SEC play. So let's get right into it because I think this is going to be a long-winded show. We've got Day Vol here with us tonight. He's only here for a short time. He's tired.
Short time. I'm going to bed. I've been up since 5:30.
He ain't here for a long time, but
I had to go shoot as bad as Tennessee did. I just did it this morning.
A lot of bricks, brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
Speaking of, I wish Gavin was here. I have a present for Gavin. This isn't it, but found this last night. For those listening, it's a foam brick Tennessee Vols, Tennessee football brick by brick. It's right above my Butch Jones autographed helmet.
Speaking of, JT Shroud transferred to Arkansas State. So I don't know what kind of news that is, but it's news.
It's news.
It's news.
I didn't know he was still playing college football.
No, he was on the 1-11 Colorado Buffalo roster that Dion said, hit the road. I'm bringing in my own luggage, and it's Louis.
I've got you a better one than JT. Do D'Angelo Gibbs transferred from Tennessee to South Carolina today. How about that?
Really? I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, I just saw it a little bit ago. I was like, what? Dude's still in the system?
Good
I
for
had
him.
no idea.
He'll catch an ass whooping this fall.
For those listening, if you're not watching us on YouTube, shame on you. A lot of viewers. But if you're listening and you can't see, Big Montana is dressed like he's ready to go to the beach. Big Montana, what's up with your wardrobe tonight?
Well, I sat down tonight and watched that Florida game, and I didn't realize my calendar got away from me. It's March, boys. So I was getting ready for spring break. Got on my Hawaiian, my straw hat, my sunglasses. I'm ready to go down to the Gulf.
Yeah, you got your shirt unbuttoned,
Hamburger meat hanging out.
hamburger meat flowing out of there.
I'm ready, boys.
What percentage lean to fat you got there going?
This right here, boys, this is a good 80-20. I mean, it ain't going to put you in the early grave, but you ain't going to see 90. It's all I'm going to say about it.
Hey, that's what I was going to guess. 80-20. Grade A.
Yeah.
Great.
Right.
Yay, Lordy. Yay, Lordy.
This is prime, baby.
Prime.
It ain't Dion.
You got that
It's
prime beef.
It's prime, but it ain't Dion. It's almost.
You got that prime beef. Cooks up real good, doesn't it?
Does.
All right. Harbin, I'll start with you. Tennessee, since we recorded last, 2-1. Blowout win over Georgia at home last Wednesday, Thompson Bowling Arena. Not a blowout, but a wire-to-wire win over a really good Texas team. Averages like, 90-something points a game. They scored 71. And then I don't think there's any way to sugarcoat it. They did not play well offensively tonight. Tennessee didn't against Florida. Shot. I think
you just did sugarcoat it. That wasn't even in the not play well stratosphere. That was ugly.
No, it was very ugly, especially on the offensive end. I looked this up a minute ago, was texting somebody else about it. Tennessee shot 14 of 43 inside the three-pointer line. Normally we get on here and we're like, God, Tennessee shot 3 of 24, 4 of 30, whatever it is. It was all over the place tonight. They were 5 of 25 from three-point range, 19 of 68 total from the field, 27.9% from the field. I mean, there was points. I mean, they couldn't even hit like 5-footers. I don't know what was going on. Florida's very good defensively. I think they're top 10 or 15 nationally on a defensive end. But so a pretty wild week for Tennessee, Harbin. 2-1. Everything we want to do is still right in front of us. What's your thoughts?
I don't know. Over the last 3 games, overall, you got to give the stretch, I don't know, a C. I guess maybe a B-. Took care of business against Georgia at home. My opinion, a really good win against a good Texas team at home. Real tough Saturday for the Thompson Bowling is Quiet crowd because that place was jumping, or at least it was on TV. And then
It was. I was there.
And then no sugarcoating it, you lay an absolute egg against one of your biggest rivals on the road after being named number 2. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's, I don't know. Every time we jump up significantly in the rankings, we're like, oh, we're this number. I would love to see what our record is, because anytime we have a significant jump, it feels like we lay an egg. We're pretty good in the bounce back category, but I don't know. That was a pitiful offensive performance. I haven't looked at the stats. It felt like Ziegler was about the only one that showed up. And I don't even know if you could, hit 3 threes in the second half, kept us from kind of getting beat pretty bad. This is a letdown. And it sucks that our only 2 conference losses are to Kentucky and Florida. But I mean, we're fine, boys. It's February 1st. We're gonna be just fine. Well, actually, I take that back. It's third weekend of March, according to Big Montana. Another shout out to Big Montana. I shared this with the boys, but for the listeners, as most of you know, Big Montana is we'll call it very critical of Rick Barnes's coaching style. And he gets upset that he sits down quite a bit and don't get up and jump around. I was at my grandparents' house watching a basketball game, and my grandfather, Papa, he's 84. He looked at me at one stretch from Florida went on a run. And he said, "I don't understand Barnes." He said, "That boy needs to get off his hind end and coach him boys." He said, "You look at that ball coach up Kentucky. He gets up there and gets in that boy's hind end, and they play for him. He just get up and go." So
Where was your grandfather in the military?
he was in the reserves. Yeah,
I can tell he's a good man.
he is a great man. So you can head on down to Strawberry Plains and you can have dinner with us every Wednesday night. And I think
Good.
y'all get along just fine. Yeah, we're fine. In the last couple of weeks outside of basketball, Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble. That's going to be big time at WrestleMania. It's going to be fun. And there was absolutely no big time football games over the last couple of weekends that we absolutely don't need to talk about.
Let's save the football and the WrestleMania talk for the end, Harv. I've got that listed here to talk about.
Fair.
Not WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. Sorry.
Spoiler alert if you haven't watched it.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Harv's ruining it. Well, it was Sunday. They've had plenty of time to watch it by this point. Or sorry, Saturday. Pay-per-views aren't on Sunday anymore, which is smart. Last Sunday, you can't have a pay-per-view last Sunday with AFC, NFC championship games going on. No one would watch. But anyways, we'll get to the American Nightmare winning the Rumble here in a moment. Day Vol, you were at the game Saturday and probably, I guess, last Wednesday. I don't know, against Georgia.
Yeah, I was at both.
Both. I was there. Excuse me. Golly, I'm choking again. Yeah. I was there last Saturday, Texas. Shout out Thomas Raines. He says he's trying to listen more, so hopefully he's listening. Thomas had a late opening for a ticket, and so hate that Tiffany couldn't go and enjoy it, but I filled in for her, kept her seat warm. But I thought Tennessee played probably one of its best games of the year against Texas. Texas is really good. I've not seen them play except one time. Those guys can score. Tennessee gave up 71, which sounds like a lot, but Texas is averaging near 90 points a game. And then we had 28 at halftime, 29, something like that. But obviously did not play very well tonight offensively against the Gators. But I think you're going to have those nights in college basketball. What do you think? Is this a harbinger of things to come, or is this just a bad night, move on, and beat Auburn on Saturday?
It's a trend. 3 of your 4 losses, you've been, I don't want to say disinterested, because they're interested, but they're not remotely playing the same way that they have been. And they get super down, discouraged when something goes wrong, and then it just snowballs on them. And it's been against bad teams. I don't know if Kentucky's bad yet.
No, Kentucky's a quad. I mean, I was talking to somebody about this at work today. He's a Kentucky fan. He kept saying, well, that Tennessee loss to Kentucky was bad loss. And I was like, Kentucky's number 35 in the net rankings. So that's still a quad 1 loss. That's not a bad loss.
They're still
Colorado,
fine.
yes. Colorado was a bad loss.
This one tonight was absolutely, I get it. You're on the road. It's a Wednesday. They're around a 32 team because of how they respond. It is what it is. That's the way I feel about them right now. They're going to win some games. They're going to play good. They're going to get you hyped again and get you on that roller coaster ride. They're giving me the vibe of last year's team. They're going to get hot right at the end and making a bunch of threes, and they're going to do what they did last year. That's the way I feel about them right now.
Yeah,
They're going to
I mean,
chase. They're chasing Alabama just like they chased Auburn all last year. They're going to lose the SEC by 1 game. I don't know what they'll do in the tournament, but I don't know. That's how I feel about them right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at the net rankings here. Florida right now is 52, so they're quad 2, but this win tonight might push them into a quad 1. So that would be a quad 1 loss for Tennessee probably. They are at 3-3 now in quad 2, but that could change. It could be 4-2 in quad 1, but yeah, it's
And it's not only the way they play in those. I'm not counting the Arizona. They were locked in. They were playing hard. 3 of those 4 losses, I think they were poorly coached, and they played poorly.
I think you're right. You hit on something. Sometimes they're not disinterested. I think it's just for some reason, they just did not see. I only saw the second half tonight. I don't know what the first half looked like. I looked at the score at one point.
First half kind of looked worse, if we're
It
being
was
honest.
17 to, I think we were down 17-4.
Yep.
But they come out and they just don't seem sharp or focused, or why that is, I don't know, because they did not look like that on Saturday. They not looked like that most of the year, but Colorado, they kind of looked that way. Against Kentucky, they looked that way, and tonight they looked that way. So I think it's all about the bounce back and, see how they respond. They're a veteran team. We'll see. I mean, last year they went 8 or 9 losses, and we're at 18-4 right now. So,
honestly,
I can't remember.
They had 7
or 8.
losses.
7, that's right. But I don't know. Still a lot to play for. We'll see. It's just the consistency on the offensive end that bothers me right now with this team. And it's not that they don't have the guys or players, but like Vescovi they clamped down on him tonight. He was non-existent, except he scored a bunch of points at the free throw line.
Another thing, your offense was bad. Tonight, your defense was bad. Like, they were not fighting over the screens like they normally. It's just they got discouraged, and it just kept going and going. And one person missing assignment. And when you play defense like that, if one person is out of position, you get the backdoor cut. You get this dribble drive to the rim, and then you got to slide over. You got a guy on the back door. Then you go foul him for no reason. Just stupid stuff.
They really struggled tonight at Florida with that high ball screen pick and roll when they would get Castleton moving around. And Euros could not stay in front of him. I wish they would have got him out of the game or got somebody else on Castleton. But
was playing fine, and they pulled him. When we made the run, they pulled him out. I don't
know. I don't know.
I'm not a coach. I'm not saying you should do this. I hate that. Or I like this lineup more. Well, I get it. They practice it. They do all this stuff. But the game was flowing well. He gets pulled out, and then it just went to crap.
Big Montana, you said the count. Hold on, I'll get back to you, Harbin. Big Montana, you said the calendar flipped to March today instead of February. What's your thoughts on the Vols the last 3 games? Win over Georgia, Texas, and a loss to Florida.
Win over Georgia was expected. Tennessee played Tennessee basketball. It was great. Very few flaws in the system. If there was flaws, they covered them up with their points. The Texas game, I feel like we dominated that entire game. I forget how much we won by.
11.
10, 11. Yeah, we were up by 20 in that game, though. The one thing that really, in the Texas game that I did have a problem with, Tennessee is just, they're up by 20, and the next thing you know, it's 9 points. They're scoring droughts. That's their Achilles heel. That was my one critique with the Texas game. Luckily, it didn't bite us in the rear end. But the bigger Achilles heel with this Tennessee team is if Vescovi's shut down and doesn't hit threes, and we can't hit threes, Tennessee's not a very good basketball team. That's my opinion. To get you a cup of coffee, maybe. I personally feel like we lost the SEC regular season tonight. I don't think that Alabama is going to lose 3 games. So like Day said, we're chasing Alabama just like we chased them last year. That sucks because we should have beat Kentucky and we should have beat Florida, but we didn't. That's shitty. I joke around about Rick Barnes and stuff, and I think Rick Barnes is a good coach. I think he's an even better man. But we talked about disinterest and stuff like that. I just don't feel like they're motivated half the time. And I joke about him standing up, sitting down, or whatever. I had some fun with that tonight. Florida went on a 15-0 run while Rick Barnes was on the bench, sitting down. And then when he stood up, we went on a 9-2 run. It's just science. But, I don't know. I mean, this is like it. In the other aspect, if you got to get fired up from a coach to play Kentucky or Florida, then you don't need to be at the University of Tennessee playing basketball. The name recognition of those schools playing on your court or you going to their court to play is enough. You're talking about 2 schools that's won national championships in the last 15 years, I think. And you can't get fired up to play these boys. You don't have that dog in you. I know I like to rip on Rick, but I mean, man, like our players, it was sloppy as hell tonight. If you can't get fired up to go play Florida, which is your school's arch nemesis in every sport, don't care what it is, when blue and orange meet, it's a war. And we go out there tonight, and we had a chance in the second half. We're up by 6. We could have put that thing away, but we didn't. And it's just, I don't know. It's piss poor basketball. And then I fully expect them next week to come out and win by 25 again. But that crap's got to change, because if you don't change it, second weekend of March, when you play somebody that's a 7 seed or an 8 seed, you're going to get bounced.
Harb, what were you about to say just a second ago?
I was going to bounce off a couple points. First one, whoever brought up Vescovi getting shut down, that's fact. He didn't play well tonight. He did not play very well in the Kentucky game. And I don't know stats off the top of my head, but I don't believe he played very good in the Colorado game either. I'm not counting the Arizona game because that game was 50-50 and we could easily win that game. So if you shut him down, we're
just giving you he was 2 of 13 in the Colorado game.
There you go.
But he just sent me all his stats for the year.
There you go. So science.
And he was 2 of 12 tonight.
Right. So that's a trend, and it's a scary one. Another thing, Day was talking about being around a 32 team. We kind of played to our competition. Our 3 losses are to a now 13-9 Florida team who I heard the announcer saying may have just moved into the next 4 out after they beat the number 2 team in the country. That stings. Yeah. Kentucky, you can say what you want about them. They're mid. I mean, if the tournament started tomorrow, they're anywhere between a 7 and a 10 seed probably. In Colorado's dog shit. So the thing that scares me is if we're a 1 or 2 seed, we're going to lose to a 7 to 10 seed. That's just how it is. However, here's the sunlight. I know there hadn't been a whole lot of sunshine in Knoxville in the past week and a half, but if we can make it through the round of 32, I truly think we can make a deep run because we play to our competition. I think we'll see that 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever it is next to the other team and be like, all right, here we go. Instead of seeing that 8 or 9 and be like, oh, these dudes ain't worth shit, and just kind of going out there lounging around like we did tonight or against Kentucky, which that's a whole different conversation. I don't know how you could go out there unmotivated against Florida on the road or Kentucky at home with Chris Lofton's jersey retirement. That's beyond me. And I'm not saying they weren't motivated, but that's how they played.
I don't think, just from what I saw tonight and watching the Kentucky game back, I'm not saying they weren't motivated. It just looks like because they're really good. And it's like they just show up and be like, we're just going to walk out here and do our thing and get a win. And That's not how it works in
No.
sports at this level. This is not those guys at Kentucky are highly rated, highly recruited players. The guys at Florida, they're in a transition year, but they're not. I don't want to call them scrubs. I mean, they're not scrubs. They're playing in the SEC, but they're not great. But you can't just like roll the ball out there and walk out on the court and say, well, my jersey says Tennessee on it. We're number 2 in the AP poll. We're number 1 in Ken Palm. We're number 2 in the net rankings. We're going to beat these guys by 10 tonight. This is not how it works.
You're not playing UNC Asheville anymore.
Right.
Or South Carolina.
Like, I mean, you got to go out there and treat everybody the same. I mean, obviously they know this, and I'm sure that they think this way before the games, but I don't know what it is. All 4 of us have clearly seen that it's a pattern. We'll play really well for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll just lay an absolute egg that's like, what in the hell are you doing? I think Vegas saw it coming. We was only a 5-point favorite tonight.
Yeah.
And when it smells fishy, it ain't chicken.
It ain't the chicken, baby.
I don't know.
I agree.
That's the most frustrating thing is that this Tennessee basketball team could play and beat anybody in the country. I mean, they can. I think if you take Tennessee and you the number 2 best team in the country and say we're number 1, we play each other, we win 7 times. I honestly believe that in my heart of hearts. But in the stretches and the tournament style stuff, Tennessee, doesn't compete. And that's been the second round Rick mantra. And I really hope it doesn't happen. I hope that he gets to Sweet 16. I think he deserves it. I think they deserve it. I think they're a good enough team to get the Elite 8 or Final 4. But I think Harb's right. We play down to our competition, and you see that in high school basketball. You see it in college. You see it in the pros. Whenever a team makes you walk through the mud and plays a little bit sloppy and brings you out of that, Showtime basketball, just the fast-paced, throwing hoops and open, layups and everything else, and makes you earn it, it really clogs the lane up and it really hurts us. But we said this preseason, or at least I did, man, you live by the 3, you die by the 3. And Tennessee's learning that right now. Shooting, what we shoot tonight, 9 free throws.
Well, that piggybacking off what you said, like us in Florida kind of play the same style of basketball. Kind of slug it out on defense, semi-ugly offense, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if the style of play really changed anything. But like you said, we shot the ball like shit.
I'll tell you what, if Florida had hit 10 more of their shots in the first half, they had open looks. Boys, we got shut out. It would have been bad. Yeah. We were very lucky the halftime score was what it was. That could have been 40-21 very easily in the first half. Florida missed a lot of shots in the first half.
Florida, I'm looking at it here. They were 44% from the field, 35% from 3-point range. But they did have a stretch in the first half. They were ice cold. I was listening to Bob and Bert.
Yeah.
Coming home.
I think they were stuck on 19 for a good 8 minutes.
Forever.
Yeah. So
yeah, both teams went in long scoring droughts in both halves. Florida went on a 15-0 run. Tennessee cut it down to 22-21. It was 27-21 at the half. Tennessee came out, played pretty well the first 10 minutes. Went up 6 with 6-7 minutes to go and just could not throw it in the ocean. It was I don't know. I don't know. They shot 27.9% from the field, 5 of 25 from 3-point range. A lot of those threes came at the end where they were trying to get back in the game.
Yeah, they shot probably 8 there at the end within 2 minutes.
I thought tonight, and again, I didn't see the first half, but I thought Tennessee was rushing shots a lot. I think Jimmy Dykes said it too. It was a lot of quick early shots in the shot clock. That's not – I know Tennessee's not the best offensive team. They were like 31 in KenPom coming into tonight's game, but I felt like the ball movement was bad. They were rushing shots. They rebounded. That's another stat. Usually when we get out rebounded, we lose. I don't think we got out rebounded tonight, so that's kind of a little bit of an anomaly.
We out rebounded them by about 10.
Yeah, 43-36. Tennessee had 18 offensive rebounds. It's kind of like the Lady Vols last week against UConn. They had like 25 offensive rebounds and lost by double digits.
Yep.
That's just weird. That's a weird stat, but I don't know. I just thought Tennessee was rushing things tonight. Not good shot selection. Just bad. It's college basketball, man.
I mean, Florida had a good game plan. They know our half court offense is dog shit. So anytime a shot went up, all five people get back and make us set up half court instead of trying to get something easy in transition. And that's why we looked awful on offense.
You know what?
It's pretty good.
It's the old mantra. Pressing teams don't like to be pressed. We don't like it when teams play defense against us. Is what it is. Like our style defense, just gritty and nasty.
That's facts.
Yeah, they better get ready for it because when it gets March, especially when you get into the big dance, the level of play, even though you're playing a 7-8 seed, the level of play picks up and the intensity picks up. I'm telling you, in college, I was telling somebody before we recorded here, it's college basketball so wide open right now. I mean, you look at what happened this past weekend. Alabama just got shellacked on the road.
I mean,
then they come back and shellack Vandy. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just all over the place. Kansas lost 3 in a row. Then they go to Kentucky and win, and then they beat a top 10 Kansas State team last night. I mean, it's just like Arizona's been up and down. It's just about getting hot, getting right at the right time. And Tennessee's still got everything in front of them. I mean, Alabama loses 2 games. We don't lose anymore. We split the SEC. And we've still got Bama coming up. We got Bama, Auburn coming up. So,
but that's us going undefeated.
Yeah, no, I mean it's going to be an uphill battle to win the SEC regular season at this point. But I think everything Tennessee wants to do is still in front of them. I mean, it's no time to panic. I mean, this team's really good. I have a lot of faith in them and believe in them. I just watching them. I mean, like Big Montana said, they can beat anybody.
So my question to the panel of fellas tonight is: would you rather have a Tennessee basketball team that won 95% of their regular season games during the regular season, and they got put out in the first weekend of March, or would you rather have a Tennessee basketball team that lost 9-10 games in the regular season, got in as a 10 seed, but made it to the Elite Eight? Which would you prefer?
On a year in and year out basis, or like just one time?
Yeah, just that's what that's what we were.
I'd rather, for me to answer that, I'd rather have a great regular season because it puts you in position to have an easier path. 10 seed, they don't happen very much.
I need some more information of, are you getting hardware within your conference, or are you just having good regular seasons with no hardware?
No.
Good question.
If you're in the I'll say in the regular season only, you can win regular season SEC championships, but postseason play, you're getting put out the first weekend.
So you're pretty much asking us if we would rather have the Conzo Martin years or the Rick Barnes years. And my answer is the Rick Barnes years every single time.
Yeah,
by a landslide.
Okay.
Conzo sucked.
Because if you're in that talent bracket where you're a bubble team or you're a 8-9 seed, or maybe you get the play in 11 seed, there's going to be years where you go to the NIT and no one gives a shit if you go to Madison Square Garden. That's just the truth. But
let's just say this is locked in. Like, this is how it's going to be. Like, you're automatically going to make the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 as 10 seed, but you're going to lose 10 regular season games.
Well, I mean, obviously,
would you
postseason matters the
rather
most,
have-
but that's not guaranteed.
This is a made up world here. This is a question.
I understand that.
It's a good question.
This is fantasy
think I-
land, Harbin.
I think I was-
Fantasy land, Harbin.
I mean, in fantasy land, yeah, you're going to take the team that's not very good in the regular season and goes to the Elite Eight because postseason's really the biggest factor in any.
But at
But
the same time,
but you get to enjoy going to all these games in the regular season, knowing you're going to win pretty much all of them.
yeah,
So you're basically having a season of happiness versus a postseason of misery, versus
If you're-
a season of
Yeah.
to a postseason of that's pretty good.
I'm gonna pick the regular season simply because you have a tangible championship within the teams you play against. Versus you're going and playing in this tournament that it's an awesome tournament, but has its flaws about it, and you get nothing, but you're just the 8th team to make it to that spot, basically. That would be me.
Gotcha.
I agree with that. I mean, Elite Eight or round of 32, you still don't win a title.
You're still one of the best of the teams that was able to get in it. You're not winning anything out of it. But on the back end, you're winning your league. Basically, you're Gonzaga.
I'm just trying to figure out who's really on Rick Barnes' side here.
No, it has nothing to do with Rick Barnes. You can throw them out the window.
You know where I stand. I'm a Rick Barnes stan.
Because here's the thing.
Go
You
ahead. Sorry, Dada.
you made that, but Rick Barnes has only delivered 2 trophies. You're telling me we're getting multiple opportunities at these trophies. Then I'm taking the trophies. We're competitive. I would take Elite Eight over no hardware.
I personally think that a Sweet 16 banner is a trophy, an Elite Eight banner is a trophy. I think those are, if you can hang a banner for it and it makes sense, I consider that a trophy, even though it's not.
I get where you're coming from there.
Well, here's a better question for you, Big Montana. Would
Let's
you
go.
rather have an SEC championship trophy or a Sweet 16 banner? Because
After
pretty much sums up your question. Would you
is
rather
this-
be really good during the regular season or get hot for 2 weeks?
I personally, just because of where we're at, I've experienced the SEC regular season and I've experienced the SEC tournament trophy. I'm ready for a Sweet 16 or an Elite Eight.
You've
Now-
experienced the Sweet 16 within this era.
Oh, I know. I agree. Yes, I have.
Now-
but
I get the Elite Eight thing, but at the same time, I don't know. It's like that. I don't know.
Personally, I don't think they should hang banners for Elite Eight or Sweet
Yeah, I
16.
mean-
It's Final Four or
I
bust
get
for
it.
me.
I get that.
I fall very firmly in the middle on the Rick Barnes spectrum. I started the season at closer to Big Montana, but hearing more people be negative, it just kind of shows me how annoying it sounds. Because
Listen, I understand that. Listen, I'm a Cowboys fan. I understand how annoying fan bases work. I get that.
Yeah,
And I understand that my opinion on Rick Barnes is very, very all Twitter, just vomit. But I like to think that I'm a little bit more intelligent on how I do things. And a lot of times when I do things, it's
Dude,
really aggravates you.
it is the aggravating.
but
Somebody has to be a villain on this podcast. There has to be
No,
a black.
nobody is a villain. But here's my thing: when Dallas Cowboys fans are annoying, that franchise has 5 Super Bowls. Like you can be annoying when you've been dog shit for 30 years after you've been on top of the mountain. Our basketball program, this is the best it's ever been
I know.
for a
I agree.
sustainable amount of time. I don't care if we get beat by Sister Jean or Oregon State or whoever. This is the best our basketball program's ever been. Before Barnes and Pearl, Ray Mears is the guy we called our greatest coach of all time. He never won an NCAA tournament game. Bruce Pearl comes around. We went to an Elite Eight. Cool. We acted like we won 3 national championships in a row. I hate to say it, but we just kind of need to lower expectations as a basketball program. I understand that we're in the top 10 in our 3 major sports. We may have the best athletic program right now, and we probably do. And I don't even know if it's close, like consistency wise. But we're not Duke. We're not North Carolina. We're not UConn. We're not Villanova. This is Tennessee basketball, and it's good. But the fact that we're like, oh, if we don't go to the Final Four this year, Barnes on the hot seat. Obviously, that's exaggerated, but
I've seen it. I've seen
yeah,
it.
I know. Like, let's pump the brakes.
Listen,
Like,
I mean,
we're consistently good for
we've-
7
we've-
years, and we are now within the last 5 years a perennial top 10 basketball program. That's very good. Like, and if we lose to a 9 seed this year, I will be pissed. I will be madder than hell. I'll be as mad as anybody. But we got up to number 2, and we were very good during the regular season. And that is way more than what all 4 of us have seen for the majority of our lifetimes.
To piggyback him, okay? This I wasn't even gonna say anything, but I'm not even gonna call the person out. But this is on Facebook, which is just about as Twitter. But this is the same type of view, okay?
It's worse.
Speaking
It's
of Dallas
worse.
Cowboys fan,
This is somebody that has played a sport at a higher level, and they throw out football ranked number 1 for 2 days, lost. Basketball ranked number 2 for 30 seconds, lost. Baseball ranked number 1 all year, and we won't build him a stadium. He's the only success and keeps players motivated. Here is a fundamental flaw in that little message. I guess we just want to throw it out the window because they only made the Sweet 16. Tennessee team that year was ranked number 1 for like what, 4 weeks running?
Yeah.
No, they were
Yeah,
on
they
like
were.
a 15, 16 game winning streak, which
Yeah.
is unheard of in college basketball, unless you're Duke, Kentucky. I mean, we'll throw them out there. UNC.
That was an incredible basketball team.
It's just like stupidity like that. Look, you're number 2. You lost. I already said it was a dumb loss. You shouldn't have lost. Send them back down to 7 or 8 where they belong, because I think that's where they kind of fit in at the moment. And cool. Okay. Wasn't the worst loss in the history of Tennessee basketball, like I've seen on Twitter. It's just stupid stuff. Like, I'm down on the team. You heard what I said about them. They're around a 32 team in my mind at this moment. But like Harp said, we have no success. I've been cheering for this team when they had, what was his name? Something Green. What was his first name? I'm
Jerry
getting
Green.
No, the player.
Aaron Green.
Aaron Green, who was this elite shooter, and looking back, he's like a 30% shooter, and you're just like, whoa. I mean, what did that team win? Like 12 games, 15
They
games?
were 500 at best.
And listen, like,
The program has never been this successful, even with Bruce Pearl, even with his Elite 8. They
Like,
weren't this successful.
I'm a good amount younger than y'all, so I know y'all remember it way more vividly than I do. But I remember going to games in Thompson Bowling where they had curtains all the way around the top deck, and those I don't even know what you call them. I can't think of the word right now, but the thing that have in all 4 corners that cover the tunnels,
Yeah.
canopies, I guess we'll call them. They went all the way up to the concourse. I remember going to like Florida games or Auburn games or even Kentucky games when there was 4,500 people in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I went is because it was cheap as shit.
I remember going to UT home games when you brought 2 cans of soup and got a free popcorn.
Yes.
And got to sit in the lower
Did
level.
that too.
Woo!
Did that too. But I mean,
7
the
years,
moral of the
I was
story
going
is
to Tennessee baseball games, taking in Campbell's Chunky Soup for SEC play because it was free. Our athletic program has been awful for a pretty good while. And now it's top 10 across the board in the 3 major sports categories. I'm happy. And this loss is not going to change that. And that's that.
I mean, it's one of those things.
Get a
It's
grip
like
on reality here, boys. Grip on reality.
It's disappointing, but the program is so healthy. The baseball program is healthy, even though they had their downfall. You can only have one winner when it comes to the the whole thing. They put hardware in the trophy case. I don't know if this Tennessee basketball team is going to put any hardware, but at the moment, they're competing for that hardware. Football team didn't put any hardware in, but well, I guess Orange Bowl, you get a trophy for that.
I'm
But
glad you brought that up.
way better than what we expected, right? I mean, we all are on here. We're like 10's a ceiling, even with a bowl game. Bowling was a little hopped up there at the beginning of the year, which he had the right idea of what we should be
Called it,
doing. Now
baby.
next year, we'll see.
Running downhill,
just-
baby.
It's so like I hate getting on Twitter after they lose.
I'll
one
say
So dumb.
Go ahead.
The funniest thing to me is, and I'm a victim of this too. Don't get me wrong, but after what we've seen over the last 15 years from our athletic program as a whole, this past year we won the Orange Bowl in football, we won the SEC in baseball, which is far and beyond the hardest conference. Went to Supers, and we won the SEC basketball tournament. And in every sport, at the end, our fans were acting like the damn sky was falling.
That's what makes it fun, though, man.
Yeah,
They do.
I totally agree with that. It's just funny how quick we've become spoiled.
I'll say this: 2 points, and I may be in the minority here. Tennessee basketball is a top. I'm not saying their ranking this year. I'm talking about overall as a program. They are top 10 in the nation right now. We've got everything we need here. We've got money, facilities, fan base, arena. The program, like Day said, very healthy. Top 10 program. Tennessee's also one of the 10 or 12 teams right now in college basketball that can win the national title. I think we all would agree with that. Will they? I don't know. You could say that about Kansas. I mean, they lost 3 in a row. Kansas never loses 3 in a row under Bill Self.
Bet on them on that third game. Didn't turn out.
Yeah. College basketball is so topsy-turvy right now. It's crazy. So I want this kind of – okay, go ahead.
With that being said about the athletic program and Rick Barnes and Vitello and Heupel, boys, when you write the check, you need to have some outcomes. Rick Barnes is getting paid a lot of money, just like the other two are. He needs to have more as far as tangibles. When you write the check, you better cut the net. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, nobody's disagreeing with you on that. I'm not, at least.
But I think so far our return on investment with Barnes has been very, very good.
I would agree with that.
We were talking about Vol Twitter. A lot of I'm going to bite my tongue. One thing that's bothered me this season with Tennessee fans, and I don't know, I tweeted this the other night. I don't know if it's because we were bored. Maybe this will snap a lot of this out of this. There's been this narrative going around that Thompson Bowling's not loud anymore, and the people in the front row sit down. You know what? Those people pay a lot of money for those seats. They want to sit down when the team comes out or during the starting lineups. Good for them, whatever. I sat down during the starting lineups in section 319, row 6 on Saturday. I was tired. I'd worked all day. I walked from the ag campus to Thompson Bowling Arena because the line for the bus. I was tired. I sat down during the starting lineups. Why do I need to stand up? But seriously, Thompson Bowling was as loud as it always is Saturday. And I got home Saturday night. I had no service in the arena, by the way. Y'all are maybe I have an Obama phone. I don't know. When I went to the Petro's line, my phone just like blew up. I had 48 missed text messages. Went and sat back down, no service.
You're sitting up there with Harambe and Michael Jackson
and Sting. Sting.
You were looking down on Chris Lofton's jersey.
Yeah, I saw Sting sitting up on the catwalk. He was just sitting there with a ball bat in his hand, staring, stoic. But I got home and was checking Twitter while I was watching the Royal Rumble, and people were like, "Oh, it's just not very loud in there." God, people are sitting down. And Nick Bernard, listener to the show, asked me Sunday. He said, "Was it very loud in there? It just didn't sound very loud on TV. It's like." Everybody was just sitting there. And I was like, no, I had to stand up multiple times to watch multiple trips up and down the floor because everybody in front of us was standing up, cheering and yelling. I thought there was at one point, it was the very first possession of the game when Tennessee was on defense. Texas had a shot clock violation. That was as loud as I've ever heard Thompson bowling. And
Yeah.
I've been there for a lot of games
I'm
in
gonna
that
give you
little
all-
segment. But I think that is there's a lot of dumb arguments that Vol Twitter puts out there. And I just don't get it. I don't understand where that's coming from.
Twitter is not a real world.
I'm about to
I know
tell
that.
you where it comes from. So everybody that's on Vol Twitter is probably, I would say, everybody from 25 to 40. We'll say that range. They've been so used to losing for the past 20 years and everything that it became cool to be a loser. And now they think they're cool by acting like we're losers. Post-traumatic Tennessee syndrome, all that BS.
Battered Vol syndrome.
Battered Vol syndrome. Yes, thank you. Oh, we haven't beat Florida. All this BS. Oh, we're just setting ourselves up for this. Like, man, like, if you don't think you're going to win, don't go to the game. I can't imagine like all this crap. Like, if you don't think I got a lot of better things to spend money on. Like when I go to games now during football, back 5 years ago, I was going for different reasons, but like now, like I fully expect to win these games or have a chance to win them, and I have a good time, and I want to be there for it. But that's what it is. They've been so used to losing, they haven't snapped out of it yet. Boys, this Big Orange train's on fire. Athletic department's doing crazy things. Our recruiting classes are high.
Talk to me.
We're here. Get on board.
Talk to me.
If you want to
Renew
be
your
a loser,
football
go
season
reach for
tickets.
Florida.
Is that what you
Renew
ate
them.
tonight, Harbin?
Pretty close to it.
Mama's cooking from Chicken Wing. Sorry.
I had some Polish sausage, some white beans, some fried potatoes, corn.
Yeah.
What?
I just think that I don't know. I mean, I think people think that it's supposed to be a constant roar at these games. It's just not. It's not Duke. The student section doesn't. That's not what we do. I mean, Thompson Bowling's one of the toughest places to play. If you don't think so, look at the record. I mean, Tennessee's like, 25-1 its last 26 games at home. And I think if you went back over multiple seasons, it's even more like that. I mean, maybe 2 or 3 losses home the last 2 or 3 years?
Besides Kentucky, what's a tougher atmosphere to play in besides TBA?
In the
Like, are you
SEC
saying
or the
SEC?
nation?
In the SEC.
I've seen
I don't-
multiple Tennessee players say that Arkansas is hell to play at.
Yeah, Arkansas is a good one. I would say that.
I've heard, Arkansas, Bud Walton can rock. The
Like,
O-Dome,
when they're rolling and that place is rocking, I've heard that it's arguably at the top.
the O-Dome
about
at
it,
Florida used to be, but it's not anymore.
No.
Thompson Bowling Arena was built to host the Volunteers, don't get me wrong, but it was built for an event center too.
Yeah, yeah, they had more than just
we hold
basketball.
21,000 people in that thing, but that thing was built for
Well,
Hank Williams Jr. boys.
when it was built, it held 25,000. They took
Yeah.
4,000 seats out to put skyboxes in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a direct response to Rupp Arena. I mean, it's a mirror image of that arena in Lexington. I just that aggravated me to no end Saturday night, and it went into Sunday too. You see people tweeting.
It was pretty stupid. Yeah,
It was dumb. It was very dumb, and
because it was like
makes me-
somebody responded and was like,
Here's another
Kentucky game wasn't
unpopular
loud.
opinion, and I'm gonna say it. That most of the opinions on Twitter are coming from a gender of people who know nothing about sports. I said it.
I will say, to be fair and play devil's advocate, the majority of that Kentucky game was not very loud.
No.
I will say that.
This is what was said. It was never loud. I'm like, did you go to the game?
That's crazy. The first 5 minutes, that bitch was rocking.
Right. That's what I said. I was like, until they blew their 8-point lead, it was it was on fire. And then you're
It was.
missing layups, and you're hearing sighs, and you're not getting a foul called, and you're hearing boos. There was nothing to cheer about. They didn't cheer. Mississippi
true.
State game, you're up by 40 points. People don't cheer. I mean, yeah, we scored again. We're beating your brains in. I mean,
Right.
that's just how it goes. Even in football, you go up in the Missouri game, it was loud when we got the touchdown, and then the blitzing happened, and it's quiet. That's how it is in any sport. It's hard to maintain that same energy. Just like when they go up by 40 points, it's hard for them to maintain their energy to play the same way that they got to 40 points.
Another thing that people were talking about was how everybody, the under 4 TV time out comes out, and there's people videoing people leaving. The game was over. The game was over.
But they were leaving out of my section area. It was students.
It was the students.
It was students who were putting the uppers. They were coming down. I'm sure there were some other fans, but that was what was coming down. It was the students.
I mean, there was people. I went and stood. I rode with Thomas. I kind of had to go with him, but they do this thing where they leave their seat and go stand in the concourse the last 4 minutes so they can hit the exit really quick. I don't particularly like that, but that's what they do. So I followed them. And there was a steady flow of people leaving, but the game was over. All they missed was a free throw contest at the end of the game. But people were on, again, Harbin, Twitter's not real. I know that. It's just aggravating because
said that bullshit. But
we've got but it's not. It's not real.
No,
it's like
true,
2%.
but I said it in a joking context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's aggravating because we've got a really successful basketball program right now. And you can even say it about baseball and basketball. And people get on there and they don't know what they're talking about. And it's embarrassing. It's a bad look. I think
half of them that are complaining don't go to the game.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So it's just like
another thing is too, we only see the Tennessee fans. It's like this with everywhere.
everywhere.
Hey,
can you imagine being a Florida fan? Can you imagine being a Kentucky fan?
Did you see one of the posts from the Rupp Rafters? I'm going to mess this up, but I'm not quoting it verbatim. I'm paraphrasing here. They basically, a post said, "What has Tennessee done to deserve to have game day to keep showing up at all these games?" I was like, we are under Kentucky's skin so bad right now. So bad. It's comical to watch. But this person was just flabbergasted, shocked that game day would go to Tennessee for a game. Well, we were a top 10 matchup. They're not going to go to Kentucky every week. Nobody cares about Kentucky anymore. Get a grip on life. You're poor. Florida's poor.
Talk about non-return on your investment, Bolin. Woo!
Yeah, big time. I agree with you.
That's crazy.
Kentucky basketball, Texas A&M football. They're in the running for who's worst. I would say Kentucky basketball at least got a championship out of it.
They did, but they didn't give them this insane amount of money.
No,
that early.
Here's a side note question: has there ever been one coach get more run out of one championship in any sport ever than Calipari? And as a Celtics fan, the only one that comes to my head is Doc Rivers, because everybody acted like he was one of the greatest coaches in the NBA for a 10-year span, and he's had a lot of talent, in my opinion.
Good question.
I would say Mike McCarthy.
Who?
Who's Dallas's coach?
McCarthy.
Okay, I got you one, and then
that's true.
I got you one, and then I'm going to bed.
Well, it could be Sean Payton, because people still think Sean Payton's the man. It could be.
Okay. It could be, but it's this one. It's this one right now. Ready? And I'm going to bed. I'm logging off right after I say it.
Please don't say who I'm going to say, but go ahead.
Philip Fulmer. Good night, gentlemen.
Gavin agrees. I was going to say Eric Spoelstra with the Heat.
Well, he's got 3.
Yeah, but he won all of those with LeBron James, Chris Bosh.
The question was somebody that only has one championship.
Oh, one. Okay. Well, then never mind.
Speaking
I didn't hear the one part.
Well,
Speaking of
Spoelstra,
LeBron James,
got
we
at
talk
least
about that?
Yeah, hold on just a second. So wrapping up Tennessee basketball, they've got number 25 Auburn, who won by 15 or 20 tonight. We got them on Saturday, and then next Wednesday we got Vandy. So hopefully we'll get back to recording on Sunday nights. So hopefully we'll be back for the Auburn recap on Sunday night. But that's what we got coming up the next week. Auburn this Saturday, and in Vandy in Nashville.
We're gonna whoop Auburn's ass.
I don't think Auburn. They've not. I mean, I know they won tonight. I've watched them
whoop.
play a few times. They're hit or miss. I mean, they're good, but they're definitely beatable. They don't worry me like they used to.
There's a very slim chance we lose at home coming off a loss.
I agree.
And the crowd's going to be into it because Bruce is back. Place is going to be rocking, despite the haters and losers, of which there are many.
Which there are many.
We're going to go 2-0 this week. We're going to bounce back, and then everybody's going to be back on the Barnes train.
So, I'm a big believer in Rick Barnes. I love what he's done with this program. We'll see if they bounce back Saturday. Moving on to pro sports, Big Montana brought this up. What about LeBron's little hissy fit he pitched last Saturday night? He did get fouled. They didn't call it. He also walked.
First of all, can we talk about those 3 steps he took before the
3 steps?
3. I ain't talking 2-step. 2? No.
3.
Trace. 3.
That was an Oklahoma 3-step right there. It wasn't a Texas 2-step. It was an Oklahoma 3-step.
Hey, Big Montana, you know my buddy Hugh?
Sure.
Hugh, damn right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I didn't see that live or anything, but I saw some videos of it Sunday morning, and I don't have a very high opinion of LeBron James. He's fake. He's not a good person. He's a D-bag. He's a D-bag.
And my son this year went to the book fair at East Knox, and he come home with a LeBron James poster just because he thought it was cool because his friends like him. And I said, son, you're not hanging that in my house. I said, if you want to go out and put it in Woodrow's doghouse, it's fine. But we're not making heroes of losers in this house. Like,
I mean, it is the greatest basketball player of his lifetime.
I don't care. We're not supporting people who are race baiting, crybaby bastards. I can't stand the guy. He wants to play on this just victim all the time, but yet when he gets asked about certain things that are going on in the world, he shuts up and dribbles.
My favorite thing that LeBron James does is read. Have you seen the picture?
He's always on the first page.
He's always on the first or second page. Does he actually read the book? He's like Jim on The Office. When Jim joins the Finer Things Club, he didn't read the book. And Oscar or Toby looks at him and goes, "Did you even read the book?" And he's like, "Yeah." Well, who was the main character? He doesn't know because he didn't read the book. Idea. That's LeBron James.
LeBron James is the biggest fraud of a human being. Yes, he's a great basketball player. He's arguably top 5. But listen, the guy's a joke. He is a complete fraud of a human being. Everybody wants to talk about his school in Akron. He's given so much back. Bullshit. Can't stand the guy. His shoes suck.
Speaking of fraud, speaking of frauds,
a little aggressive here. I think emotions get the best of us.
You two boys were over here for the Cowboys 49ers game a couple weeks ago.
When did they play?
When do they play?
No, when did they play?
Who? The Cowboys?
When did that happen?
That's 2 weeks ago, fellas. You can't hide from it.
No, it didn't. That didn't happen.
Can't hide from it, Harbin.
Fake news. That didn't happen.
Poor old Harbin was. I'll post a picture on here. He was upset.
No, you and Brett are both chicken shit. I am gonna get out there and say that. I was trying to wallow in self-pity in private, and then all of a sudden the Stonehaven paparazzi pops out, and I've got cameras on my face while I'm pissed, and in 30 minutes they end up on the World Wide Web. Sad.
Unfair.
Heavy weighs the crown.
That is true.
The one thing that I can say, we tweeted about it earlier. The Cowboys did retire Tom Brady. Just let it be known.
Hang a
that
banner.
His last game, the so-called GOAT, lost to the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. Hang the banner, baby.
That is a very good consolation prize.
Mm-hmm.
Retiring the boogeyman that we had never beaten before, and the one time we beat him, it sent him into retirement. Yeah, I'm cool with that. But the thing the thing that does kill me is the 49ers had literally everything go wrong against them against the Philadelphia Eagles. Why couldn't that have happened a week ago? Why?
Because we'd still got beat.
Listen, man, I know how this is going to sound, and it's going to sound really bad. I wish injury upon no man, upon no athlete. But the guy got hurt this weekend. Why couldn't he got hurt the weekend before? I mean, he would have recovered. He would have recovered a week earlier. I mean, let's look at it that way.
And that was crazy too. He had like an injury you don't see from an NFL quarterback a lot. He tore his UCL. Yeah.
Did you see how his arm bent?
He tore his. He's got to have Tommy John surgery. I mean,
what about the guy that come in after him? Did he tear his too? Because
no, he got a concussion.
Oh, I thought his arm got hurt
no,
too.
He got his head hit the ground Tua style.
Yeah. Also, here's my question to the San Francisco 49ers front office. They had McCaffrey taking direct snaps and said that Kyle Juszczyk was going to be emergency quarterback. Are they aware that they had a 5-star quarterback on their 53-man roster?
Juwan Jennings.
They could have dropped back and threw a back shoulder fade to Debo at any point in time. Drop some dimes out there.
I don't think that ever crossed Kyle Shanahan's mind.
Well, Kyle Shanahan ain't as smart as I thought he was.
No. It should have, but maybe it did. I don't know.
Yeah,
well, we got who do you got in the Super Bowl? Harb, you got the Chiefs and somebody. I didn't even watch.
Chiefs
Who's in the Super Bowl? Chiefs and the Eagles.
Without anyone getting hurt, is there any way that they can just not play the game? Like I mean, I absolutely hate the Philadelphia Eagles with all of my existence, and I really, really don't like the Chiefs either. And it pains me to say this. I'll just out of spite because Philly it's anybody but Philly. I will be pulling for Kansas City, which makes me want to gag saying that out loud. But I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen in that game. I truly just believe Philly's better than everybody.
They're very good defensively. Great.
I thought San Francisco was. I truly did. And if Purdy don't get hurt, that game goes a lot different. Mm-hmm. But the way Philly looked, they were probably going to win either way. It might have been tight, but they were probably going to win.
Do you think Cincy got cheated out of the game?
I think cheated is a strong word, but there were a lot of calls that didn't go their way in that second half.
Yep.
I felt some type of way because after Dallas got knocked out, I turned into a huge Bengals fan.
Yeah, me too.
I love me some Joe Burrow, man.
Joe Burrow.
I don't care if it's bandwagon or not. If it's outside of my favorite team, I can do whatever the hell I want. I love me Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I love all that. And I don't like Kansas City.
I kind of want to see the other Kelsey brother win a championship.
Dude, there's just no part of me that can pull for Philadelphia. None.
Great podcast those two guys have, by the way.
It is pretty good. And it is a cool story with their mom. You know, Travis Kelce in his press conference, he was like, shit, my mom already won. You know, there's no way she can lose, which is cool.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, that part's cool, which deep down, well, Jason Kelce has a Super Bowl, does he not? He won one with Nick Foles, right?
I don't think he did.
Was he not on there?
He made some comment about his brother being a first ballot Hall of Famer. All he needed was the Super Bowl. He just wanted one. So I don't think he won one already.
Interesting.
I could be totally wrong.
Well, if he does not have a Super Bowl ring, I don't even think it's a secret that I feel like their mother is rooting for Jason, so they can both have
Probably.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
yeah. And I don't know who's older, but she's probably pulling. She's probably pulling for the younger one, but she's also wanting them to be even.
Yeah,
that's just how mothers are.
Yeah, she's in a win-win situation here.
I'm in
I
a
always
lose.
I like to see the parents wearing the custom made cut jerseys. That's one side one side the other.
Yeah,
I think
those are
that's
cool.
cool.
Those are cool. I like those.
Just
really
knowing that you have two kids in a pro sport, that's just incredible.
Yeah, and goes against the odds and percentages that
Of everything.
that happens.
All right,
that one.
going back to the Cowboys. Kellen Moore's gone. He's with the Chargers. Mike McCarthy will be calling plays. My question to you, Big Montana, because you watch just about as much Cowboys as I do. Is the offense going to be better or worse with McCarthy calling plays over Kellen Moore?
But it's going to be the exact same until they figure out a quarterback situation and get some more help in the wide receiver room. So they're going to win 10, 11, 12 games, and they're going to get put out the second round of the playoffs no matter who's calling the plays. That's my opinion. That's the way it's going to go, I think.
I know you're right. I just don't want to think about that. I mean, we're not bad enough to blow it up, and we're not good enough to be over the hump. We're in purgatory.
We are.
It
We're
sucks.
in
I would rather be dog shit and get good draft picks. Is what I would rather be than to go 12-5 and lose a game in the playoffs while giving up 19 points.
True.
That made me sick. We lost to Brock Purdy.
We did.
Not Brock Lesnar. Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Harv, the Cowboys suck. Actually, they don't suck. They're just very mediocre. And we found a way to get in the playoffs. And my phone is voice typing right now as I look down. So all this is being sent.
So I came up with this plan Sunday night, or I guess it was the night after we lost to the Niners, when I considered driving off the Mascot Bridge into the Holston River. Or I guess that was Saturday night. So, but I woke up the next day, the sun rose. I woke up. My mother was in good health. My grandparents are good health. Whatever. It's sports. Blah blah blah. However, I'm gonna censor this because this version is going on YouTube, and I don't want us to get flagged. I'm gonna start a GoFundMe to help the Cowboys' future, which I don't know if you could put a price on said human that we need out of that building. But we're not getting any better until he's gone. And he's not selling the team, so you can put 2 and 2 together. The only hope I have while he's still alive is that he wants to make one final push and he can't take his money with him. So he goes all out. That's the only hope I have while he's still running the show.
Hire Sean McVay. I like it.
Which we're already 0 for 1. I wanted Sean Payton, which I think that was kind of delusional Cowboys fan bullshit, honestly. We're stuck with Mike McCarthy. You're not firing anybody after going 12-5 and winning a playoff game ever. That's never going to happen.
True. Even though we should.
You're not getting rid of Dak.
Nope.
You're not cutting him. You're not trading him. Who the hell is taking on that contract?
The Vikings, maybe.
Yeah, so we can get the white Dak Prescott in return. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
That's the only dumb team I know.
There's not really a win now team that could benefit with a guy like Dak Prescott. The Jets, the Jets and the Niners are the only 2 teams that could benefit from taking him, but not for that price.
The Colts could.
I think the Jets are the cheapo version of the 49ers. I think the Jets are really good. I really do. Or not really good. They're good. We'll say good. If they get Aaron Rodgers, the AFC East is going to be a damn problem. That's
Who's
all.
that? Who gets Aaron Rodgers?
If the Jets get Aaron Rodgers, the AFC East is loaded.
I thought you said NFC East. I didn't know what you're talking about.
I apologize. Yeah.
No.
Which you could argue that the NFC East and the AFC East were the two best divisions of football this past year.
You could argue that.
But if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, and let's say Tua's brain forms back how it was in August of 2022, that division's nuts. Because you're looking at the worst team being an 8-9 New England Patriots.
Yeah.
That's just what they are at this point.
Niece, what are the Titans going to do? This is a Titans fan podcast too.
Well, they need to figure out their quarterback situation. Is Tannehill coming back? Is he going to walk? And if he does walk, what do? I've seen rumors that they might trade him to San Francisco for Trey Lance, or somehow Trey Lance would come to Tennessee for a year or two. I don't know. I also saw today that the Titans were the first team to talk to Hendon Hooker at the Senior Bowl down in Mobile. I don't know. They got to figure out their quarterback situation, which keep Tannehill. He's good enough to win games. He's good enough to get you to the Super Bowl with the right players around him, even though he's stunk in a couple playoff games.
What killed Tannehill this year was losing old buddy to Philly.
Yeah.
AJ.
And he had no offensive line. They had no offensive line at all.
Like I think the offensive line they ended the season with, or what am I trying to say this? How am I trying to say this? They never played together, basically. Like even the back, like they had no experience together, which that doesn't bode well for NFL teams. You got to have the same dudes a couple of years playing together to learn the ins and outs, who steps where,
And I'm interested to see what they do. I don't know. I'm looking here because I've not seen anything, but they've not hired an offensive coordinator, but they got to do something to reform this offensive approach of 3 yards. I love Derrick Henry and he needs to be given the football a lot, but this trying to win games 17-10 and 20 to 17, that's how you get beat. That's got to stop. You can't win like that consistently. I know that's what they want to do, but I don't like it.
Well, first things
it's not
first.
Sustainable.
First things first. If you want to quit scoring 10 to 14 points a game, you got to go get a receiving core.
Yep.
The receiving core that the Titans have. And I don't mean no disrespect to my Titans brethren, because if they're not playing the Cowboys 99% of the time, I'm playing the Titans.
Same.
That receiving core was the worst in football this past year.
And
then when Treylon Burks didn't have one of his best games of the season, it was one of the worst that I've ever seen in my almost 25 years of life.
Him and Robert Woods. I mean, those guys.
You can't blame that on Ryan Tannehill.
no,
I don't think so either.
For that matter. And when Treylon Burks is out, he was out a couple games. Your best receiver, I can't think of his name. It's the guy with 2 last names, I think. When he's your wide receiver number 1, Derrick Henry ain't going to go off, bro. They're going to put 8-9 people in the box. I mean, your defense can only do so much.
I mean, they've got a lot of issues. They've got offensive line problems. They have wide receiver problems. Their secondary was not good last year on the defensive side. But I mean, quarterback's one of their issues they got to figure out. And it's not necessarily a style of play. It's a contract thing. Like, what's Tannehill going to do? Is he going to walk?
No.
Is he going to come back? I hope he comes back because there ain't a lot of guys out there to choose from. There's just not.
He had, from what I understand, which I'm sure you know it better than I do, because you're a Titans fan. From what I understand is he has a player option for this upcoming year, correct?
Correct.
And it is worth a large amount of money.
It's like 25 million,
Right.
something like that.
I have read something in the past. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know differently. If he opts in and they cut him by June, they only have to pay him $9 million. Is that correct?
That I don't know. I'm pulling his contract up.
If that's the case, you cut him or you trade, which I'm not on the Trey Lance. I'm not on the Trey Lance wagon, especially after him shattering his leg or his ankle or whatever it was. If that's the case, you cut him. You go find somebody that's, I hate to say it, but somebody around the same talent level as Ryan Tannehill, but for much cheaper. And you go overpay some wide receivers. Kind of like what the Jaguars did this last year. They paid way too much for Christian Kirk, which,
Yeah.
I mean, he ended up playing really well, but at the time they overpaid him. I think it was Marvin Jones Jr. that they overpaid. But the thing was, they committed to getting Trevor Lawrence weapons, and that was the biggest thing. They might have spent too much money, but they got him weapons, much better than what they had before. You've got to make an effort to go get targets for whoever your quarterback is next year, and to alleviate the stress from Derrick Henry.
So Ryan Tannehill's current contract, the first year of it was 2020. He signed a 4-year deal, $118 million, $20 million signing bonus, $91 million guaranteed. Last year, he made base salary $29 million. Of course, $5 million was that of a signing bonus. He was a $38.6 million cap hit last year. I don't understand all the ins and outs of the cap, but he can opt out in 2023. If he does come back with the Titans, he will earn a base salary of $27 million. His cap hits $36 million after bonuses and restructuring. After that, it says $62 million guaranteed at signing bonus plus 2020 salary and 21 salary. 22 salary fully guarantees as of March 21st, 21. And 24, 25 years automatically void. So I'm thinking he's coming back probably like a year, and then he can hit the market if I'm reading this. Well, no, he would be an unrestricted free agent in 24.
Here's what I'm telling you.
So he's got 1 year left, yes.
With that much money on the table and with his recent performance, there is absolutely no way on God's green earth that he opts out. He will be on the Titans roster unless they cut him.
Right. I agree.
I mean, hell, if he's getting $30 million to be the epitome of average, which I like Tannehill. I've defended him against Titans fans before. Like he's gotten y'all to an AFC Championship game where he's came up big in some big time moments. But getting $30 million for being Ryan Tannehill, yeah, he's up, man.
Yeah, it's a big cap hit too, is what, if he comes back, he's going to take up a large chunk of money toward the cap. $36.6 million, like I said just a minute ago. But yeah, can they get weapons to win if he comes back? It's kind of they're in a catch-22 here. I mean, it'd be good to have him back, but you can't go out and get a lot with him there.
Here's my second question. Do you get rid of Derrick Henry while he has value before you got to give him a boatload of money before he goes away for free?
Yeah, his contract's up. What? I think this was his second year of a 4-year deal, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's where the value that the Titans have. Me personally, I think that's the move, because obviously he's a top 5 back in the last 10 years in the NFL. But the lifespan of a good running back in the NFL is not very long. And I think he got hurt last year. He's been hurt the last 2 years, correct?
I think
Except his
yes.
last year.
Yeah, it is little nagging injuries. Yes.
Yeah, but like, we've seen it with other running backs, Zeke, Elliott, for one. I mean, it's like after they get that one big paycheck, they kind of go downhill. You hardly ever see a running back get 3 deals in his career. I almost think that it would be smart for the Titans to wheel and deal with Derrick Henry, even though, I mean, my goodness, he is the Titans. It's a business. I mean, that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. It's a business, and I think the Titans would be better off with losing an A+ running back, getting a B- running back, and then somehow having the opportunity to have a couple of B+ receivers in the mix.
Yeah, I think they could probably, according to this, he will be entering his 3rd year of a 4-year deal, so they could probably run with him next year in 23. And then if things aren't looking up, that's when you try to probably
Yeah.
probably try to get rid of him.
In my opinion, which I bartend for a living and I do a podcast that X amount of people listen to. I'm not an NFL GM, but how I see it, you do it kind of like how the Panthers did this past year, which y'all are better than the Panthers. I'm not saying that, but you give it a go, see how it goes. And if it's not looking great, get the best possible offer and move on. Which McCaffrey is a little bit more injury prone than Derrick Henry is, but they got a lot in return for him. Which time will tell who won that trade. But on paper, I mean, hell, they got like 5 or 6 draft picks out of one player. Man,
Harb, you're not an NFL GM, but you're a fantasy football GM.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you won any titles as a fantasy football general manager owner?
No. So this was probably like my 7th. This is probably my 7th or 8th year. Yeah, probably 7th or 8th year playing fantasy football. Every year but one, I've come in 2nd or 3rd. Like I've dominated the regular season and choked up. So I'm literally a Dallas Cowboy. Played really well and then just shit.
Regular season Harbin.
Yeah, well, it's funny because 80% of those times, like let's say it's a 10-man league, I'll finish the regular season in like 2nd place, but I have like the 6th best points scored in the league. I'm like one of those guys. So, but this year in the main league that I cared about, I came in 9th out of 10th. So, a ton of injury, bad luck. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
So
I picked Javonte Williams was my 2nd round pick. He got hurt first week? 2nd week?
I had the number 1 pick in a league and took Jonathan Taylor. That was bad.
All right. Well, we're gonna do this like part of the interruption. We're gonna mute you for 15 seconds.
I have a shout out.
Let's hear it.
Sure, go ahead.
Back to basketball. Carter Youth Basketball 8U, Coach Watson's Warriors. My son Saturday put on a spectacle. He went 1 for 5, scored the first points of the game. 1 for 5, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. I closed my eyes for a second. I thought it was David Robinson out there for a second. Griffin was dominating.
That boy Griff.
It was wild.
He
out
stole the ball. You posted it on Twitter, and he stole the ball and little kiss off the glass for a point.
Baby. There may or may not have been a timeout after the bucket to celebrate, and there may have been a throat slash.
Heck yeah.
It's been rumored. He was there for it.
Heck yeah.
Good.
That's what we need. We need more dogs out there. So slash your throat.
While we're at it, while we're giving shout outs to children, I want to give a shout out to Marshall Stanton. Yes. And this is going to be a little bit of trash talk. It's not an actual shout out. So Saturday, I went to Brett's house to watch the Royal Rumble. And first of all, I am very upset at how they staggered the pay-per-view. The men's Royal Rumble was the curtain jerker.
Should be last.
Or how they've done the last few years, have the men's championship at the end right after the Rumble.
Yes.
That's fine with me too. There's just no way where that's supposed to start the show.
Well, that's like the WrestleMania that I went to in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome. The first match of the night was the World Heavyweight Championship match, Edge versus Alberto Del Rio. It was the first match of the night, and it was a great match. But I was like, really? The first match?
So here's where Marshall comes into play. We're all down in the basement. We're watching it, having a great time. Booker T comes out there. Shout out Booker T. Come in, did a spin-a-rooney, got his ass thrown out. Whatever. It was cool though. It was awesome. But we're down there watching it, and at 29, the Paul brother comes in, Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Marshall goes nuts. He said, Logan Paul's going to win it. And he literally ran upstairs and grabbed a prime fruit drink, sports drink or whatever it is. It's Logan Paul's thing. Big Logan Paul guy. So we're down there. And by the way, I got to give my props to Logan Paul. The 3 times I've seen him in a WWE ring, dude, he looks good. I don't care. He's very good in the ring. But he's
good.
He had one of the coolest spots I've ever seen during the Royal Rumble with
Ricochet.
Yes. That was cool.
Yeah, when they jumped across the ring and hit each other, that was cool.
It was stunty, but it was cool as hell.
So while we're talking about it, I had to go back and rewatch some of it because I got back so late from went to the ball game, the Tennessee-Texas game Saturday night, went out to eat with Jersey Kate and Matt and some other family members after the game. So I got home, it was like 10 o'clock, something like that. Royal Rumble's long pay-per-view. Can we even call them pay-per-views anymore? They're not really pay-per-view. I still call them that, whatever.
I wish this was around like back in the 90s when the pay-per-views were actually good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's also
instead of paying $60.
Yeah. So I watched I got home in the men's Rumble. I guess I hit the rewind button and it didn't go all the way back to the start. So I caught about half of the men's Rumble.
It was good.
Tried to watch, but I dozed off and I woke up in the middle of the WWE Championship match and saw what happened there. But awesome. I saw Bianca's match. Bianca, and I don't know if y'all saw this. I'll send this to you guys on Instagram. There's a spot, Bianca Belair, who I work with her dad. He was there ringside. Montez Ford got thrown out right in front of him. There's a great picture online of Leonard looking at Montez Ford, and it's like, damn, you had one job. But anyways, there's a sequence in there of Bianca and Alexa Bliss shot for shot from Scary Movie. I'll send it to you on Instagram. It literally punch kick was all from a scene in Scary Movie. It was pretty funny, to be honest. It was I wish I could put the video in here. I don't think I'm gonna be able to. If I can, great, but probably not. But yeah, it was literally shot for shot. I got to show it to Leonard tomorrow when I see him. But yeah, I thought that match was all right. Championship match was good. I fell asleep during the women's Rumble. I saw Rhea Ripley won, but what did you think about the show overall? You got massive ratings, by the way.
I think
you got massive ratings.
I think overall content, it was good. Like I said, I hate how they staggered it. Like the men's Rumble should not, like I missed like the first 8-9 contestants because I was on my way there from work. I saw where it started at 8 and I was like, oh, like that's fine. I'll catch the men's match. But anyway,
I think that's what Big Montana said. He texted me and said, when's this over? And I was like, I just started it. I don't know. And I didn't realize that was the first match.
Well, I turned it on later, and I turned it on as during the women's rumble, and I was thinking, well, here's the women's, the men's are next. That's really the only thing I care about watching, So I kept on watching, then it was over. I'm like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think overall the content of the show was good. I hated the staggering of it. The Bray Wyatt LA Knight match was decent. I didn't know what to expect from it, but I mean, it's kind of lackluster, but anything Bray Wyatt does is cool in my opinion. The men's match was not that, I mean, it was kind of whatever, but the end of it was, honestly, you could argue it was peak WWE from the last 7-8 years. Like, the way they've done that Bloodline storyline is so damn good. Now, I think a lot of that is the thank from Triple H. That shit's awesome. I think Sami Zayn is going to end up being champion at some point, and they're going to treat it like the Daniel Bryan thing, like when Daniel Bryan finally won.
Yeah.
And the reaction for Sami Zayn, if he ever wins it, is going to be the exact same. Like,
I guess
they're going to do it right, and it's going to happen, and it's going to be awesome.
I guess I was a little disappointed, and I haven't watched a whole lot of WWE in the recent months. I would say the last 6 to 8 months. I watched the big pay-per-views that they have on SummerSlam, and I'll watch it. Pay attention to it a little more leading up to WrestleMania. But I guess I was disappointed because I kept hearing all these rumors, and of course they're rumors, but that The Rock is going to be involved, and Stone Cold Steve Austin's coming back. And I really thought Steve Austin, because he's been training like a madman. If you follow him on Instagram, he is jacked right now. And some of the storylines they could go with kind of made sense, but those guys were nowhere to be seen. And I guess I was a little disappointed. I mean, Cody Rhodes coming back was good. He needs to come back big time.
That was predictable, though.
But that was predictable. Edge coming back was kind of predictable. And then you had your token like Booker T coming out. You always going to have those guys.
For damn near a whole year, they built up The Rock, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania. And it got a little closer, and they're like, well, The Rock's not really in good enough shape to wrestle. And I thought that was just smoke screen to try to throw everybody off. Obviously, it wasn't. And then for the same amount of time period, Steve Austin's WrestleMania match last year went well. He wants to do another one.
Yeah.
Which could still happen. But in my pea-sized brain that is me, I just had this vision where the Stone Cold and The Rock were both going to be in the Rumble, and we would get a face-off. And the crowd and literally the roof gets blown off that place.
And they use the Rumble to set up matches for WrestleMania. Like Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar is going to be at WrestleMania, and it's been set up perfect by last Saturday night. Plus, a couple other things leading up to it. But yeah, the rumors were that Stone Cold was going to come in, be eliminated by somebody. Boom, sets up their match. Same thing, maybe with The Rock, but I thought they might play The Rock a little different and have him involved in this bloodline thing somehow, but maybe they're not. I don't know.
At this point, well, for the longest time, because they do 2 nights of WrestleMania now.
Yes.
Longest time I saw that they were going to attempt to split up the titles, and one night they were going to do Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, and the other night they were going to do The Rock versus Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns splits those two. And I thought that's what was going to happen. But Cody Rhodes is 99% going to win at WrestleMania. It's going to be cool as shit. I'm looking forward to it. I think WWE is doing this instead of this, which is positive considering the last, 7-8 years. But I don't know. Overall, I give the Rumble like a 7. 6.5, 7. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was a good show. And like I was reading yesterday, it got huge ratings. And it was one of the biggest I guess biggest gates they've had in a long time. It was a huge show, so I don't know what the future is of WWE. Vince McMahon's apparently trying to sell it. I've heard NBC Universal might buy it, which makes sense because the streaming rights are already on Peacock, but they've got I've not liked the direction of that brand or that show for the last decade or so. It's just been so cheesy, and I know they're PG and all that, but they got some good talent in there. I want to watch it more. I just can't. It's not been good. It's just not. But that was a good show, though. I'll give them that. That's the first one I've watched since I watched Survivor Series back in the fall, and I've like totally tuned out. I had no clue what was going on leading into this. I had to really read up on it coming into it, but it was a good show, though. Excited for WrestleMania. Got Elimination Chamber coming up in February. That's always a good match.
Might have to have a watch party.
We might have to do it.
Depending on what time Tennessee plays, if it's on a Saturday.
I think most of these shows are on Saturday anymore, so.
Well, I feel like they did the Rumble on Saturday because of that. They're not going to compete with NFL. And they do, in WrestleMania, they do Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
And I guess for the fall pay-per-views, they might do Saturday for NFL as well.
I think they do.
But I think the other one, like SummerSlam and shit, that's all still on Sunday.
So Elimination Chamber is on the 18th.
That's the week after the Super Bowl.
Yes, and Tennessee plays Kentucky at 1:00 that Saturday. So it should be open if it's on a Saturday. It is on a Saturday, so there you go.
That could be a dangerous day.
That's the weekend of the Daytona 500.
Where's Gavin when you need him?
Where's Gavin when you need him? My driver, Kevin Harvick, this is his last year. He announced he's retiring. Daytona 500. Actually, they raced this weekend at the Coliseum in L.A., the Clash at the Coliseum for the second year, Saturday night. So I'm sure,
excited
we'll be watching that. Yes. Between the second and third stage, Wiz Khalifa is performing at the Coliseum.
Huge NASCAR guy.
We'll have that on. We'll have that on here Saturday night.
Wiz Khalifa has always been the biggest NASCAR fan.
Yep.
Well, speaking of NASCAR, real quick, people know that I'm a Bubba Wallace hater. I don't hate him personally as a person. I hate the fact that he is in all these promos and NASCAR constantly pushes him, and he's just a so-so driver. I mean, he finishes in the 15 to 20 range most of the time. Could he be better? Yes. But he is a noted Tennessee Vols fan. He was at the game Saturday. And during one of the timeouts, I wish Day Vol was here. He can back me on this one. They literally introduced him. NASCAR driver, Bubba Wallace, and he gets up and waves. Literally no one responds. No one claps, boo. Jake Minott, listener to the show, texted me and said, I heard a boo. That had to be you. And I was like, no, it was me. I was booing him. I put Bubba Wallace in the same ilk as, he's not as high, but he's in the same category as LeBron James. He's fake. He cries constantly when he finishes second. He made up a fake story to get publicity about him.
I don't know how you could possibly put him in the same category as LeBron James.
He's in the same ilk. He's not. LeBron James is up here. Bubba Wallace is down here. And I mean that from his fake, his persona. I mean, who cries after finishing second all the time? Seriously, dude. How many times has he raced and finished second? And he's constantly like openly weeping. And look, I get it. He's an African-American in a predominantly white sport. I think you could say NASCAR is the whitest of the white. Southern white male. That's who watches NASCAR.
It's wider than golf.
It's wider than golf. But there are more African Americans. Brad Doherty owns a team. Michael Jordan's involved with a team. And that's great. But he got a lot of publicity and fanfare over a fake story that he never came out and apologized for, and it's continued to be pushed to this day. And I just don't like him because of that. I'd think a lot more of him if he came out and said, "Hey, you know what? That wasn't a noose in the garage. That was a pull rope. Let's move on from this." But instead, he rode the wave, and that's fine if that's what he wants to do. I'm just not a Bubba Wallace fan. He was at the game Saturday night, and literally no one cheered for him. No one booed him except me. I just thought it was funny. I know you two aren't big NASCAR guys like I am, but he's been a big Tennessee fan. He used to have a helmet sometimes, the smoky gray football helmet. He became a Tennessee fan when Butch Jones was here. I remember him talking about it quite a bit. So there you go. And if anybody's listening to this, it's a Bubba Wallace fan. I don't dislike Bubba Wallace personally. I just don't think I get tired of there's other drivers to push. Why is Kevin Harvick, who's one of the greatest of all times, he's never on the promos? Why is Bubba Wallace on the promos?
Crybaby.
Who? Kevin Harvick?
Yeah.
A crybaby.
Chase Elliott's way
Hey, listen, I don't care who your favorite driver is. I don't care who your favorite driver is. They're not Denny Hamlin. They're not. I don't care if he drives a Toyota.
They're not Denny Hamlin, that's for sure.
I mean, hey, he's a Jordan Brand athlete. And he drives a car for a living.
Whatever.
And he ain't won a title.
I'm joking. I picked Denny Hamlin because I don't give a shit about NASCAR, and all my buddies that are diehard, they all hate Denny Hamlin.
Hey, I tell you,
because he wins quite a bit, and people don't like him, and his name is not Joey Logano. So I do hate Joey Logano.
Joey Logano is a D-bag too.
Yeah. I hope he gets a paper cut.
I tell you what, Jake Minott listens to the show. He is a huge NASCAR fan, huge racing fan. And he was in a commercial for, was it Bristol or Daytona? I can't remember.
It's Daytona.
Daytona, yeah. He was in the crowd. They showed him on the commercial. All right. Well, man, this has been a long-winded show.
Well, I'm tired.
I'm wore out. I got a lot of editing to do. I'm going to be up all night.
I'm down to go for another hour.
I'm going to go, as I knock my microphone over, I'm going to go edit this thing. And while it's uploading it to the internet, the World Wide Web, I bought a HDMI adapter for my Nintendo 64. It came in the mail the other day, and I have been playing the crap out of some James Bond GoldenEye 007. That game is so awesome. I've had to go back and read about it because I've kind of forgotten some of how to get things. But I played it last night, and I looked down. I was like, "Holy cow! It's almost 1:00 in the morning." I had no idea. I was just sitting there like.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is that the best pause music for a game of all time?
Yes.
I started humming it.
Yeah. Boom.
And if you go on YouTube, they have the GoldenEye soundtrack from the game. Fantastic. Fantastic Nintendo 64 music.
Love it.
Some say that's the peak of video game graphics. How can you get any better? Think about that. I mean, I spent a lot of nights in 8th grade going over to people's houses, and you plug 4 controllers up and you played that game all night long. Apparently they re-released it on Xbox or something here recently, and my buddy was playing it the other night, and I said, "What, are you sitting there drinking Surge while you're at it?" Drinking Surge, playing GoldenEye.
Surge.
For those that don't know, Surge was a drink that's no longer with us, but
Listening to Limp Bizkit.
Listening to Limp Bizkit.
Oh, by the way, speaking of chicken wing, recently I found the Nintendo 64 that I got from him as a hand-me-down. That I played. Well, no, I got it as a hand-me-down when I was a kid, and I played it at Mama's all the time. But I recently discovered it, and I've got like 4 wrestling games from back in the day. Like Raw's War.
WrestleMania 2000 is the best one.
Yep. There's that one, and there's one of the WCW ones, and I don't remember which one it is. I think it's the NWO one.
World Tour. That was the first one.
Maybe. I'm not sure. But But it's got all those. It's got King Griffey baseball. It's got Monster Jam.
Ooh.
It's got everything, dude. It's a gold mine.
It's great. If you are into that stuff, try it out. But that's this week's show. Big Montana, Harbin, Day Vols, long gone. He's probably asleep, but glad to be back. Appreciate everybody listening. Vols got a big game against Bruce this weekend. We'll be back to talk about it ASAP as possible. And thanks for listening. This has been the Section YY8 podcast.